Hello everyone, and welcome to our 2021 Pakistani Game Devs Meetup about maximizing revenue and minimizing effort with Yodo1. My name is Luke Pretty. I'm the head of education at Yodo1. I will be your host for today's webinar. It's great to have everybody here. So the basic agenda for today will go like this. I'm going to do a quick introduction of Yodo1. Then we'll do guest expert introductions and get to our discussion on gaming industry trends in Pakistan and strategies for making more money with your games. So that's what we're going to be doing. After that, we will go to questions. So please write your questions down in the Q&A as we go. So a quick background on Yodo1. Now, you may know Yodo1 as a game publisher, but that's actually not the whole picture. Yodo1 started in 2011 as a publisher based in China, and we published hit games like Crossy Road, Rodeo Stampede, Transformers Earth Wars, Ski Safari, and more. And through this, we developed a suite of internal tools that allowed us to turn those hit games into huge financial successes as well. One of these is an ad optimization platform called Maz. So then in 2019, we expanded to focus on helping game developers turn their games into businesses. Maz, for example, is now being used by thousands of developers around the world. And as the head of education at Yodo1, I'm part of that effort to share insights that help developers grow their games, turn their games into businesses. So let's get into it. Our special guest today is Mohammed Halal. He's the CEO of AptechMedia, which is a big player in the gaming industry in Pakistan. Halal has worked with the government of Pakistan on initiatives in the gaming industry and actually mentors devs looking to turn their games into businesses. So Halal, welcome.
Thank you, Luke. Hope everyone enjoyed this webinar. I think you should introduce other speakers and then we can talk from person to person, right?
Well, maybe we could get maybe I could get a little bit more background on you first, and then we'll bring in our other speakers. We can go like that. So could you give a little bit more background on yourself? Talk a bit about how you got started in the industry and some background on AptechMedia as well.
Well, from how I got into the gaming industry, we have already discussed it, from the very childhood to playing games and also all those stuff. So then, you develop a very close relation with the game. That okay, you play a game or something like that. Then, out of curiosity, you think that okay, how these games are developed, and then you go into that market. And when you study, it's like okay, it's like a big from education wise, I'm an engineer and I did my electrical communication engineering and then going into the business side of the games. It's not something not from my from my education, but only from the passion. So after my graduation, I applied in a game development company and I started jobs. So after 2 years, I realized that okay, now I should work on the ideas and the games that on which I wanted to work. So along with my friends, I started this company, AptechMedia. And then in the start, I will say very stupid games and very stupid decisions in the start of the business. But but that happens with
stupid games are the best. I love stupid games.
But I will say if there are some indie developers here with us, I will say just start. I know in the start you guys will make mistakes. Every publisher, so every studio who started the company, they made these mistakes in the start. But as you grow as a company,
right,
as you grow as a team, as you grow as a studio, you you learn how to do things. Because I started my career as a game developer, then turned into the marketing of the game, then turned into the management
right,
of the company, and also all this stuff. But you learn these things stepwise. So that's how we started our company.
That's a good insight. Is sometimes you have to just jump into the deep end and you'll figure it out. And if you try to guess what you need from the beginning, you're probably not going to figure it out. best is to just start. That's good
Like
insight.
give it your best to plan things the best you can, but you cannot predict the future. So when you
Right.
plan it, you from your side, then deep dive into the sea, and then like you will see what you think you will learn.
Good insight. Well, great. Now, before we get into the industry discussion and strategies, I want to bring in our other guests, Ali and Danielle. So Ali Shah is the head of CS and DS at Yodo1, and he's an expert in the industry. So Ali, could you introduce yourself and talk about your team's background in Pakistan's gaming industry?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Luke, and hello, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Pleased to be here with the audience and you all. My name is Ali, as Luke said, and I'm from Islamabad, located in Islamabad, Pakistan. Been with Yodo1 since last year, heading the after-sales support and dedicated account management for everyone. With the mission here at Yodo1 Games is to facilitate all our customers to be able to launch and scale their games with minimal effort from our developers. And we are a team of 6 mobile game experts here located in Pakistan physically. And one of those people obviously includes Danielle, who's the product expert for MAS, specifically designated to the Pakistan region. Hey there, Danielle. He's right here with us.
Thank you for the introduction, Al. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And my name is Daniel, as Al introduced, and I'm working as an international business development manager for Yodo1 Games here. Glad to have you all on board and looking forward to speaking with you further.
Yeah, it's great to have everybody here. Now, so we've done all the introductions. I think that's good, but I would like to get to the discussion. So let's kick that off. Now, you guys know what we're here to talk about, but I want to start really with the challenges, because I think dealing with problems is a good way to sort of set a baseline. So let me start with Hilal. Since you built a studio and since you've mentored a lot of devs, what are some of the big problems faced by most developers, specifically in Pakistan?
Well, this question is not only related to monetization, right? Like generally, what are
generally speaking? Let's keep it. Yeah, just the common things, the common problems that devs in Pakistan deal with from your mentorship, from your experience.
Okay, well, the first thing that we face this problem is like game development, relatively a new field in the field for the computer science students or for the engineers who develop games. So the main problem is this, like taking it as an industry. It was quite the awareness is now coming that okay, game development as a game developer is also a job title. Taking this thing it was very difficult in the start. That okay, if I start developing games, what will I say? That okay, what is my job title? What am I doing? Well, the society accept me if I say I'm a game developer. is this even a job title?
Is that a thing? Okay, because here, because that would be like, oh, you're a game developer. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like,
especially in California.
Yeah, and okay, when we say okay, you're a game developer, then we say okay, so what you do? Like you develop games, so like what you do? Like you are playing games or develop games. So then who play those games and why the company is paying you or why the users are paying you when they develop the games, because there are some I will say some mindset hurdles that faced like when I started the studio back in 2016. Right now I think there is a lot of awareness in this field. The second thing that the major problem was like training the resources, because in universities there are no proper courses in the game development. So what you do, you have to train a graduate who thinks that he's already trained by the university. So you have to train. So you have to convince him that no, you will start from the scratch again, and you will get trained in the game development.
Why is that though? What you're saying? University education is generally inadequate for what it really takes to be a game.
Well, in universities, it teaches you like how to code, how to write the code. But that's normally for the web, for the apps, for the softwares. Game development specifically is not a subject in the universities. Nor there is much awareness. Okay. In some universities, I will say there are a few universities in which there are game development courses. So the graduates of those universities are really good. But when they get graduated, they start from the very scratch in Unity or Unreal or all those platforms.
Right.
So, this was another problem, like training the resources, and when you get and if you're looking for the trained resources, it's sometimes much, especially I would say a lot of remote, so due to the remote work, people from Pakistan, China hired people from Pakistan, Turkey hired people from Pakistan, Vietnam hires and other studios.
Sure.
So that's why we
Yeah.
are very short of resources in that also. So we have to train the resources from the very scratch again. The third thing is
that's hold on a second. If I can just jump in, that's a pain point in two different ways. One, from the standpoint of someone like you, who wants to hire people, it's a pain point for someone who's trying to grow a studio. But for the individual developer who maybe they want to start on their own, it's that they don't have the resources, just the resources for themselves to be able to figure out how to turn a game into a business, right?
Yeah. Well, now I will come to the third point, which is most related to the monetization. What's like back in 2016, I will say what was the main concept of monetization for me. Like even after 2 years of job, and then after 1.5 year or 2 years running my own studio also.
Yeah.
What was the main concept? Like, okay, if you want to monetize a game, you should have an interstitial ad on the main menu, an interstitial ad in the pause menu, a banner at the bottom or the top of the screen, and then a video ad on level clear or game over. That's it. That was the whole monetization concept that we had like back in a few years back. And still, I know a lot of people that, okay, how you monetize a game? I place an ad on the main menu, a banner on the top, and then
Right.
a position
So
ad in the pause, and then the video ad there. So
it's
like
not data centered. It's like a theory, but it's not following the data.
yeah, it's not following the data. Also, the reward video concept or something like the game economy and the game managing the game economy and game monetization. It was something that I still feel that it doubles and triples your revenue if you monetize your game with the monetization techniques that is still valid in the market, and that's what either with Yodo1 or with anyone, but you should have your monetization techniques ready according to the market.
Well, I think we'll get into some specific strategies later on as we go. We'll talk a bit about that, what you're, I think, alluding to. But I want to also give a chance for the other guys to jump in here. Either Danielle or Ali, if you want to add, because you guys deal with a lot of developers as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I have actually a little bit of a funny comment to start with. The question that we're looking at right now on the screen, if we talk about game development as a career, there are chances a little bit of ass kicking from your parents, given the stereotypes that we have in Asia. But that's one kind of that's before you actually get into game development. In India, if I look at it on the other hand, there are universities offering game development graduation diplomas, and somebody in the chat just said that that's happening in Pakistan now. I was not aware of it till now, but that is great.
That's cool. That's good. That's a good sign, right?
Yeah. Perhaps I don't know if Hilal knows more about it, but Hilal, I have one question, one observation actually from the developer that I've worked with. So ease of access and being able to use the online resources is another problem, perhaps due to language barriers sometimes. And going after a good brand value, but not knowing what they offer, what they don't offer. And a lot of struggle during the integration phase, besides choosing the right monetization technique. So that is one of the other areas. I don't know what your thoughts are on that part, but the language barrier especially.
Yeah, so Ali said about the specifically language barrier issues. Have you helped any devs deal with that? I guess, Ali, are you referring to documentation and stuff like that, or the learning materials are mostly
learning material available online globally? English is the lingua franca, but not very commonly used over here. So that's another area developers struggle a lot to make the right choice and get the right thing started for them. Well,
I have a perspective on that. If you want to work in the IT sector, and especially in the gaming sector, English is a must for that, I will say, because if you don't know how to read the documentation, because if you see the documentation of any game engine, it's in English mostly. And if you go through the resources that are available online, so that's also in English. So at least you should be able to learn English. I know I'm not a native. I think Luke is native. Like his mother tongue, I will say, is English, so he can speak the English the way he wants. But I should know English so I can convey my message and I can read what I see on the internet for my learning. So like completely 100% English, it's very impossible for anybody who is not native English, or whose language is not whose mother tongue is not English. But you should understand like 60, 70, 80%, so you can understand the tools that are available online, or like the documentation that are available online. And the second thing is that you can speak if you are providing services in game industry, or if you're working remote, you should know that much English, so you can communicate.
Yeah, the reason, Hilal, thank you for the detailed answer.
Yeah.
I brought it up that, for example, I see a ton of developers whose games simply get rejected by Apple or Google stores, but they cannot really figure out what it says in the email that Google sent them. So
Yeah.
what a common problem. Easily fixable though. So thanks for your insights on that. Yeah.
I do think that's a good insight, and I think my general advice, I taught English for many years, would be to just as you said, it's your advice, Hilal, is you at some point you can't say I don't know enough so I can't do anything. If you jump into it, you will find yourself swimming better than you thought you could.
Yeah.
And it's scary at first, but you know, okay, I'm going to tackle this documentation. I'm going to understand what this email says, and then you're going to learn stuff, and that's pretty powerful. So that's good insight. Well, is there anything else on issues you guys want to bring up? And Daniel, if you want to bring something up here as well, feel free, because I want to next jump into trends. So you guys have anything else you want to add quickly?
Sure, Luke. So, based upon my experience so far with the Pakistani developers, mostly when it comes to the ads monetization side, their accounts with AdMob, etc., being restricted or limitations being put on, and that has been causing a lot of delays and drawbacks when it comes to their revenue related to ads monetization side. So, one of the major challenges that Pakistani devs are facing at the moment.
All right, so let's get into trends. This is something something I think we can sort of transition to. So this is a question, especially for I think Hilal and Ali, and maybe Hilal, you could answer this one first. So what are the trends that you're seeing? We've talked about problems. What are the trends that you're seeing across the industry in Pakistan when it comes specifically to monetizing games? So let's focus in on that a little bit. We've talked about education. We've talked about some of the general problems. Let's focus on monetization a bit. What trends are you seeing?
Okay, well, I will say these are like big studios, very established companies. They had their monetization managers from the very start, and who design the whole monetization strategy for the games. In industry studios, normally when I came into the marketing, and then when I came into the management, it's a role that most of the studios used to see that, okay, this is a role, this is an additional role, and either we can give it to a developer, or we can give it to the marketing guys, or we can give it to the management guy. This is not like a big deal but now everybody understands that with the same number of downloads, with the same number of users, with the same number of traffic, with the same number of game analytics, you can double your revenue. You can triple your revenue. So what are the trends nowadays? Everybody is focusing more on the monetization. Everybody knows that, okay, there are something that we can capitalize on. That, okay, we should have like a proper monetization strategy. Then from the last 1.5 years or 2 years, I see the mediation platforms because like it's like very hectic that, okay, you say that, okay, I will call this ad here, then I will call this ad here, and they'll like merging 4, 5, or 6 platforms, and then distributing it from yourself, and you don't know CPM of which country and which region is good for which ad, and like controlling all the monetization ad networks, it's like a very hectic thing for the developers and also for the studios. So like the coming to the mediation platforms, I think the developers I know and those who are my friends, I think 80 to 90% people, they are using mediation platforms, not like the merging all the ad platforms. So having a dedicated person for the monetization and going to the mediation, I think these are the two main major trends that the developers are following nowadays.
Okay. Hilal, Luke, if you don't mind, I have a follow-up
Sure.
question. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to discuss that. Hilal, what I've noticed so far is that everybody wants to go with AdMob. I'm okay with naming them. So, but in combination with Unity, but not more than these one or two networks, even though AdMob is a mediator. Is this a mindset where people think only these two networks can be helpful and not try the other networks, or it's word of mouth that gets spread among these developers, or why these two networks?
The engine they are using it's Unity, and the platform on which they are uploading it's Google. So AdMob is Google, and Unity ads belong to Unity. So that's why they already work with those two platforms. So they have that trust on these two platforms. Trusting other developers, like it's okay.
Is it trust or laziness?
Well, I will say trust. First, trust. Second, I will say laziness, because it's not laziness when it's come to money matters. Everybody want to work more if you can get more money. To be like very frank, but why will I implement an ad network if I don't know if I can get a payment from them or not?
Right.
I don't want to criticize anything, but let's think for a while that Mass is a network which is not like backed by Yodo1. So then think in that matter, how will people trust Mass if the Yodo1 name is not attached? I met Anna from Yodo1 in Singapore at Google headquarters, and she told me, okay, we have this network and something like that, and okay, so I will implement this. So this is like a level of trust that I have with the Yodo1. So I started using Mass. If Mass had it was not I will say a company or a product of Yodo1, then it would be very difficult for all the guys at Mass to tell people that okay, use this and we will pay at the end of your session or something like that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good thought. So the trust factor being, well, this is the thing I use to build my game, and it works pretty well. So I assume that if I use their ads, it'll be okay too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ali and Daniel, do you guys want to jump in here on trends of stuff you're seeing with the devs you're working with, or just sort of big picture things?
Yeah, Daniel, I think you unmuted. Go for it, man. I'm good.
That's all right. So sure, when it comes to the Pakistani devs, the major trends that I've been seeing regarding the monetization, specifically ads monetization, is that Google AdMob, Unity ads, and Facebook and stuff are a few widely being used. Majority of the developers are using these. And when they get restrictions on these, they don't know what to do. And then they try out different ad networks and mediations, and then waste a lot of time there. So that's my observation that I've seen with the Pakistani devs so far. Ellie?
Yeah, I think that summed it up what Hilal and we just discussed. About payment, you had one point. I don't know if the folks here know about payments, but Yodo1 is one of the only mediators that pays you in 10 to 15 days after the month is gone by. So I think that would be useful. I don't think a lot of other networks don't do the same. So I would leave it at that. Just next piece of information.
Reliable payments.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can get into that then. So the trend, as Hilal's saying, is there's trust with ad networks, but there are limitations with ad networks, and so there's this trend movement towards mediators, and trust being a big factor in that as well. But Hilal, you ultimately, as you mentioned, decided to go with Maz, Yodo1's Maz platform. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what pushed you in that direction. You mentioned trust as one part of that, but maybe talk about what pushed you in the direction of using Maz for your game's monetization.
Well, the first thing is like I don't know, like I have no in-house platform for that, so I can like switch between the ads and see which CPM is to the CPM of which ad and which time in the which region is good or not. So why not to use a service like the Mass is almost free for me to use it, and I can get that service from Mass, and I think the fee is like it's very minimal from Mass that if they are using they are giving me this whole opportunity to use all the ads. And when I used it, I first used it in my one game, and that was not a good game. I just wanted to check it, but when I checked the revenue, it's like 2.5x to 3x on iOS. When I checked it on Google, it has also an increase. At that time, it was like 1.5x or 2x, something like that at that time also. So, and like with that game, with that one game on Apple, and with that one game on the App Store, with that one game on the Play Store, like I was convinced, okay, if it's even, I will say as a businessman, if it's not even 2x or 3x, if it's even 1.1x, I will go for that platform because I want, because I want an increase. And if it's 2x or 3x, and or if it's in China, my personal experience is it goes to 4x or 5x. If like the Chinese market is very good in mass managed ads. So I think I checked it with one game, it was working, and after that it was like a simple calculation, multiply the revenue.
Just following the data then. That
Yeah.
Actually, so full disclosure, we've done another we did another discussion a couple of months ago. Halal. It was a good conversation. It was a one-on-one. You can check it out on our YouTube channel. And one thing that I remember very clearly that you talked about was one of the best business practices is just follow what the data is telling you to do, and then you'll be good.
And especially in the game industry, you are not developing the game for yourself, you are building it for the audience. So if even the data says they go for this feature, and you said no, this is like this feature will make the game like very stupid, still go for it. This game is not for you, it's for the users. You're in business.
It sounds like a simple point, but that's a good reminder. I think a very good reminder. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we could talk about on the slightly more technical side. I'd like to bring Danielle in here. Could you talk about, just give us an overview of what Maz is? How do you explain it, just to make it clear about how it works? Because there's often some confusion. Is it a mediator? Is it not? How does it work? What is it exactly?
Sure, Luke. Thanks for having me answer this part and have a conversation here. So what actually Maz stands for, it's Managed Ad Services. Honestly, if I had my own games, I would have definitely integrated Maz on it. Why? Because it's the only ads monetization solution so far that I've seen that kind of does all the work for you. Like it's like a team that you've not even hired of monetization experts that are working with you to make sure that your game is a success. So Maz actually is one single SDK. We have different plugins for usually used engines as well, which makes integration even easier, super time saving. One single SDK that consists of top performing best 10 to 12 ad networks. And the only where we have from the back end an option to switch between mediations as well. So we are on very good terms with all of our partners, and you'd be getting the maximum coverage, to name a few: AdMob, Unity Ads, Facebook, AppLovin, Iron Source, Wungle, etc.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, and all of those are top performing. So when it comes to the Pakistani devs issue that I initially mentioned as well, of ads getting restricted or not able to have their accounts on or games on the store for longer, or getting suspended and stuff like that, majority of those issues are taken care of upon integrating Maz. A team of experts customer success team, developer support team is there to actually help them throughout the integration. After the integration, we taken care of the network configurations, account IDs, technical strategizing. And I mean, all the team is there to make sure that we outperform your existing monetization strategy and turn it into a scalable business and optimize it to the maximum possible level. So as I said, if I had my own games, I would have definitely integrated Mass to make sure that my ad revenues are just spot on there.
Yeah, I would too. I've talked to a lot of devs at this point. I hear the same thing, the same sentiment, pretty much from everybody.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
also, given a little bit of context in a real-time example, I had recently last month one of the studios that never had ads before. They were only monetizing through what do you call a survey
IMPs?
thing, Pollfish survey thing, and only was making only $100 per month. I got on a call with him. We discussed how ads can bring much revenue to him and discussed the possibilities there. And trust me, in a month, while he was only making $100, now he's making $4,000+.
Jeez.
I think that's the same guy who's an A-level student from Peshawar.
Right. He's just a student, one game. He never had ads, and now he's a fan. He's like, Daniel Bhai, whenever I'm in Islamabad, I owe you a treat. So this is what Mass can do for you.
That's a lot of money. Yeah. I've never heard of anyone monetizing with polls, so that's a new one for me. Well, that's a great explanation, Danielle. Does anybody want to add to that, Ali or?
Yeah, just like Mass, basically for me, like going one question back and covering this one as well. It uses certain, I would say, key value props and how the platform is built, like easier integration, this one all-in-one black box, which we claim can be integrated in less than 2 hours, is actually a reality with our fantastic documentation videos and also the actual text documentation, followed by a great follow-up by our support teams as well. So I think that makes it a very, very good fit. And we have seen some surprising results. Daniel, the example that he just shared, of that student of A levels who never had ads on their game and was not aware what it could do. It actually has happened to many, many people after they open up to a little bit of experimentation, just like Hilal did, and tried Math for the first time. Yeah, that's.
What was your experience, Hilal, when during the integration part? I mean, you're more of a technical background. From the technical standpoint, the integration process or working with the team, what was your experience like?
Well, I will not name the other ad mediation networks, but when
you can.
No, I think it's like in the online world, you never know. So that's why it's, I will not name it, but everybody knows, like, if you want to use the mediation network, you have to integrate all the ad networks yourself. That, okay, connect this network, then connect that network, then download the SDK of that network, then download this SDK, and then merge all. And then when you merge it, then your manifest, etc. You get a lot of errors, and then you solve the errors, and then you make a package for you. Something like very one thing that I truly admire about Yodo1 is that, okay, just download Yodo1 SDK, give them your AdMob ID. They will give you the IDs, use it, and boom, you're ready. So that's like, I will say, very easy, and if you compare it to other mediation networks in the market.
Okay, yeah, and
like if even you give the documentation to a very junior developer, they can integrate it in like a couple of hours. So that's easy what it is.
How Ali, because you're on, head of CS and DS. So how is it that that Maz is able to pull that off? I mean, what's the secret sauce, or from what you're doing?
Yeah. So what basically I'm doing by having a team of customer success managers and also actual developers, what we call developer support, they're available 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. I would say multilingual, and of course includes Urdu and Hindi. Now I'm bringing this up for same reason. If there are videos out there and content out there that you cannot understand, that's where Mass and the support team here actually becomes a game changer. Ease of access is how I would put it, and we have seen people actually integrate in less than 2 hours or way less. And when they need additional help, being there for them is actually a key differentiator. And with this, like I would say, like ANR and crashes is, for example, another one key area. But if you get the integration right, you know, you're most likely going to stay out of trouble. And in order to get the integration right, when you cannot read or write, you know, in English or something like that, we still encourage people by talking to them in the local language. So that's where I think for the Pakistan region, although we are global, but that's why I think in Pakistan, we are able to provide a tremendous amount of help to all those who reach out to us for advice on best mediation and game reviews as well. So we do game reviews. If somebody needs an advice, we're happy to discuss your game with you. So that's differentiator.
That's cool. That is a big differentiator. And, you know, it seems like a pain point we didn't focus on too much, but it's come up several times in the discussion of games getting taken down, and the reason for that happening being fairly straightforward to fix. And if you have an interface in your language with the Yodo1 support team, and they're able to help make sure everything's right so that it doesn't get taken down, that's a huge plus. Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's been a very productive conversation. One thing I would just add to that, maybe a large sort of a bigger picture sort of thing, is that Halal says I'm not allowed to name other mediators, so I won't. But Yodo1's DNA is gaming. As I mentioned at the start, Yodo1 started as a game publisher, right? So everything that's in the platform Maz came out of a necessity for our own games first, with the DNA of being game publishers. And that's quite unique as well. That's where we're coming from, real, actual game developers knowing what other game developers need. Well, I think it's been a really productive conversation, and thanks all three of you for joining, and honestly, thank you to myself, I suppose. Now, I want to take some questions from everybody, so I appreciate your patience. For those of you who have been asking questions, I have them here in the Q&A. Before I do that, I want to just mention one thing quickly before we get to the questions. If you want to connect with other Pakistani devs, get useful content around game development, and you want to grow your game, click on the link in the chat. There's a link in the chat to join the WhatsApp group dedicated to game developers from Pakistan. So we've created a group specifically for you. Join the link, click the link, and join the group. So let's get to some questions. Are you guys okay to hang out and answer a few of these?
Yeah.
I hope so. If you say no, I don't know what to do. All right. So we have a question here from... Let's see. Item is why AdMob got limited as most of the individual developers facing this issue. AdMob got limited. Does anyone want to take that? Does that question make sense? Why did AdMob get limited?
By limited, what is you mean? Like
I'm not quite sure.
Suspended accounts or something like that?
And are most individual developers facing this issue? Maybe I'm not sure. I don't have the expertise to know what that means.
I think they are asking about the ads being limited initially. Al?
Okay.
The question is not very, very clear. So if they can send it again, and in the meanwhile we can take another one, that would be better. So
does Yodo1 cover and serve ads to other Android stores and the Play Store? Just reading the question here. Does Yodo1 cover and serve ads to other Android stores and the Play Store?
Well, we have seen it with AppToy and a few other stores. So not Amazon in particular, but there are one or two stores that we can support.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on support, also different engines as well, not just Unity, but Godot and many others, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Good.
using AdMob mediation with Facebook, AdMob, Ad Colony, Chart Boost. How is Yodo1 better?
I would like to take this one. So
Yeah.
explain it with a simple example. So think of it like all same spec cars, like a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a Porsche, and many others. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the driver. So it's that tremendous amount of trust in our AI strategy, along with the 10 years of in-house gaming experience and monetization, what we learned from over there. So first of all, I'm not shy to say that Google and others have been fined billions and billions of dollars for the element of bias in particular. That's no new news. It's online everywhere. So we are not an ad network. We're a mediation platform, always trying our best, like every 3 days, trying to look at historical data and a combination, what we call programmatic mediation, like a combination of bidding and waterfalls and a few other latest technologies that all other networks are following, allows us to squeeze the best out of each and every network and quickly learn and update from historical data. That makes it a lot more powerful solution where we have testimonials from developers, which led from 40% increase to all the way to 300 or 240% increase. So that's the key. That's the sauce, secret sauce there.
Yeah, that well said. Well said. All right. We have a question here from Junaid. Does Yodo1 give more revenue than AdMob? I am new, and this can be a stupid question. Sorry for that. I want to check Yodo1. There's no stupid questions.
Yeah.
Anybody want to grab that? Maybe Halal, do you want to take that one?
Well, yes, if you want to use like only AdMob, then Yodo1 is much better because it gives you options. Like if AdMob is not available, then some other ad. If some other is not available, then some other also give you like you can use banner, 2 or 3 options in the banner, or more than 5 or 10 options in the interstitial, and also the rewarded video. And also when your game is live, they send you a review, a document of the monetization after 1 month that, okay, you can monetize your game like this, and this for free. So
right. Oh yeah, the ADR report, right?
Yeah, report.
Yeah. This might be a follow-up question to that about low eCPMs. So how does Maz help increase revenue in Pakistan, although the eCPM rate is very low? From Wasim.
Well, I will say that will be very relative because in Pakistan you cannot get eCPM to what is in China or US because of like a lot of factors that the eCPMs are very high. So, but relatively, if you are like getting some eCPM in Pakistan, you will get like more like slighter higher eCPMs with Yodo1. If you are getting some eCPM in the US, then Yodo1 can give you 2x or 3x increase. Yeah, the increase will be there, but it depends on the country. In Pakistan, yeah, eCPMs are low, but like what you can do is you can like maximize your users to get more revenue, or you can also focus on other countries with the games.
Yeah. Well said. Thank you.
And, Luke, I have one comment to add here with what
sure.
said. It basically goes all the way back to like the complete picture that you have in your mind before you start developing your game. For example, if you're building a game that's not for, I would say young adults, and you build something for kids, then that's not going to give you the return probably that you had in mind. Similarly, if you got users from Pakistan, let's take example of Iran. We do get customers from there. It's a sanctioned country. There's not much any network or any mediator or any platform can do a lot in that area, given how the situation is. It's also about your game design. There are certain ad types like reward videos, interstitial. I see a lot of Pakistani developers stick to banners and not develop enough content to the game to have reward videos, which definitely have better eCPM. So what audience are you building the game for? What's your ad monetization strategy? Like we just said, ad hoc reports. That's where we can help our developers. But it's a broader picture. You cannot only look at the numbers and say that, why it's particularly bad. It's always relative, just like Hilal said, depending on many different factors.
So one thing I want to mention there is Ali mentioned a report there, and Hilal also mentioned it. That's something that, you know, if you reach out to the Yodo1 team, they could probably help connect you with the right people. We're not too focused on that today, but they might be able to help with a report for your game to help improve monetization, placement, which ad type to use, and so on. All right, I just want to take one more question, and then I think we'll call it a day. Wasim said thanks, by the way. Okay, is Yodo1 only publishing HC games, or can I submit my other games to be published and marketed by Yodo1? What will be the criteria?
Yeah, well, for
Anybody?
the hyper casual games, yeah. Well, I think I will say
HC stands for hyper casual. Okay.
Yeah. It's
I
like
was trying to think, what is HC?
it's a hyper casual game. Well,
Okay.
there are like one global criteria. They're like, I will say all the publishers are taking like, okay, day one 40% retention and the CTR more than 6% and something like it. But I think anyone from the Yodo1 publishing team here.
Daniel,
Actually,
yeah.
from the publishing team, we don't have anyone here. But sure, please register with us, submit your games with us. We can have a look, and definitely we can help you wherever and as much as we can to optimize your game's performance when it comes to ads monetization and other added features.
And a lot of games using MADs are hyper casual games.
Yes.
Many.
And games is one of our fortes, but a lot of apps are also our clients, and they are using MAS for their ads monetization as well.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't know where Ali went, but I'm assuming he's somewhere. Thanks everybody. Thank you all for joining. Thanks Hilal, Ali, and Daniel for sharing your insights and experience. If, like Hilal, you want to get better ad monetization without the hassle, click the link in the chat. If you want to connect with other Pakistani devs and get useful content around game development, you want to grow your game, click on the link in the chat to join the WhatsApp group dedicated to game developers from Pakistan. Again, thank you all. Yodo1 is all about helping you make more money with your game, and Maz is the best way to do that. So wish you all huge success with your games. Again, click on the chat, and we hope to see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, guys. Assalamu alaikum.